this is actually kind of sad and actually maybe even not amazing, but there's a connection involved. So in the beginning of my career, mid '90s, etc., I had been doing a bunch of stuff with multimedia and getting into the web-based stuff, and I luckily got in early. I got on the beta because I've been using Macromedia Director for a while, and I got invited to be on the beta for this thing called Shockwave, which was it was pretty revolutionary back then. It's kind of dated right now, but more or less you could take multimedia that you authored in this program, interactive stuff, animation, and embed it into a web page and actually have it interact with web content. And I did a bunch of projects with it. I experimented with it, connected with other people over it. And so I was kind of into the Macromedia Shockwave thing. I was at and I had come across the work of this guy in the UK named Roy Stringer, who worked for this company called Amaze. And he'd been using Shockwave to build these really innovative web interfaces. It's called the Navahedron, and it was this three-dimensional sort of network node thing with words and lines connecting them. And as you clicked on one of the ones on the side, it would rotate around. And you see it now in things like the visual thesaurus, etc. But this is really an innovative sort of interface. And I followed their work and was kind of intrigued by what they were. And then it turned out I can't remember when it was, sometime in the late '90s. Roy was he gave a presentation at this Sedona workshop that Paul Elsner organizes. And I got a chance to hear and meet someone who to me was really kind of like a multimedia hero. So that was a neat piece, and that was nicely amazing. Not super flower in Tasmania meeting amazing, but it still was. And I had 2000. I had lined up to get a 6-month sabbatical from my work at Maricopa, which that's amazing. I'm using that word a lot. And I had planned, the series of trips. I was going to do some work up here in Flagstaff, and then I was going to spend some time in New Zealand and Australia. And I had actually written to Roy about possibly spending some time with him in the UK. And he was open to it and said, yeah, coming over, just let me know. And just when I looked at the schedule, it was like, there's not enough time to do everything I wanted to do. So sadly, I kind of passed on that opportunity to work with a brilliant guy for a company named Amaze, get it, in the UK. And then, sadly, a couple of years, Roy passed away. And then over time, really, the little bits of his work that were online began disappearing. The Navahedron site kind of went stale and then gone. And then last time I checked, it's a parked domain. And a lot of his work, the demos, and I can't even really, I can find shreds of some of his work in the Internet Archive, but none of the interactive Shockwave pieces work. I don't know whether it's because the way they're programmed or the way the Internet Archive accesses media. So a lot of the stuff is gone, and that's problematic. And even I wrote a blog post about it. And actually, I heard from, let's see, it was a woman who was, what was it, the girlfriend of his son, etc., who thanked me for remembering Roy's work, etc., and I heard from a couple other people who knew Roy or knew his work, and were appreciative of kind of bringing back some of those memories. And then lately I've noticed that they have honored Roy. There's a nice memorial set up. There's actually a Roy Stringer series of lectures over in the UK. But what's I guess unamazing is that we create all of this stuff online. We do important work, and when we're gone, it could start to fade away. And a lot of it is stuff that I really don't want to see fade away. So, do what you can to make sure make sure your content lives longer than you do. But it's just so important to have a record of this work because it's moving so fast. But actually, it's kind of ephemeral, and we need to archive, and we need to keep, and we need to remember, and we need to be amazed.